students, welcome to Nagesh Karasge Orchid School. Myself Snehal Mane, teaching you science for grade 6. In the previous class we have started lesson number 8, that is body movements, and we have studied about the movement of the body, how does it takes place, and we have also studied about the skeleton system, muscular system and its parts. So, let us have a quick review over it and let us learn more about the joints in today's class. So, let us see about movement. Movement is a characteristic feature of a living organism. It is a characteristic feature of a living organism. We can say that movement is the change in posture of body parts or organs, while locomotion is the change in position of the entire organisms to a considerable distance. Hence, plants may not be locomotive, but they exhibit movements, they have the movement. Plants have the movement, but they are not locomotive. It means they cannot move from one place to another place, but animals and the humans are locomotives, as they can change the posture of the body and move from one place to another place. So, body parts responsible for movement mainly are muscles, bones and joints. So, these are the main parts. We have seen about the muscles, that is muscular system, then bones, skeletal system. Now, in today's class we are going to see about the joints. Skeletal system. All vertebrates have special hard structures making up the innermost scaffold of their body known as the skeleton. This is the skeleton. Skeleton is made up of bones, which are hard calcium rich units. All the bones in the body along with the softer cartilages are known as the skeletal system. Bone. What is the bone? It is made up of calcium and it is the tough connective tissue. It is a little bit hard and it is a tough connective tissue. It is not as flexible as cartilage and has calcium salts. Human body has 206 different bones. It has 206 different bones. Types of joints. So, there are different types of joints like fixed joint, pivotal joint, hinge joint, ball and socket joint. We are going to see this. Skeleton. What is skeleton? It is a framework of a body which helps us to provide shape. It protects most of the internal organs, internal delicate organs. It supports in movement of all our body parts. Then we have seen about the rib cage. Yeah, what is the main function of the rib cage? It protects the heart and the lungs. It has 12 pairs of ribs that are joined to the backbone at the back. The first 10 pairs are joined with the sternum, that is here, this is the sternum. It is also called as chest bone or breastbone in the front of the rib cage. The last 2 pairs, the 2 pairs are called floating ribs because they are free at the front end. They are free, they are not attached towards the front. So, that is why they are called as floating ribs. Then we have seen about the skull. Skull or cranium protects the brain. It is the skeleton of our head. It protects our brain. The main function of skull is to protect our brain. Jaw bones in skull help in cutting and masticating. Whatever the food we are chewing or consuming, the jaw bones help us to move a little and cut the food that we eat. All sense organs except skin are entirely protected by skull. Vertebral column. This is also called as backbone or spine. The backbone forms the main axis of the skeleton. This is the main axis of the skeleton. It is made up of 33 small ring shaped bones. These are the small ring shaped bones. Those are 33 small rings called vertebrae. These small bones join together to form a strong vertebral column. These all are joined one to other together to form a strong column called vertebral column, which is also called as spine. It protects the delicate spinal cord. It protects the delicate spinal cord. It also provides support to the body. The joints where vertebrae meet allow slight movement. This allows us to bend or twist or back, as this allows us to twist, bend front or back. So, this is about the vertebral column. We have seen about the ribs. Functions of the ribs is to protect the heart, mega blood vessels and lungs. Respiratory muscles are attached on the ribs. The floating ribs protect the kidneys. Yeah, there are two types of limbs that we have seen. Yeah, two types of limbs. Those are forelimbs and hind limbs. The bones of arms are called as hind limbs. These are called as hind limbs. So, let us have the review over the bones. So, this is the collarbone. This is called as the collarbone. Then this is the shoulder, the back of the rib cage. This is the shoulder bone. It is also called as shoulder girdle. The upper arm has the bone called humerus. Then this is the elbow. The down, here you can see the two bones. The down one is called ulna and the up one is called as radius. These are the radius, ulna. This is the wrist and these are the fingers. See, this is the collarbone. This is the shoulder bone, humerus, elbow, radius, ulna and fingers. This is the upper arm and this is the lower arm. So, our wrist is made up of 8 small bones. Our wrist is made up of 8 small bones. Those are called as carpals, and the palm, 5 bones in our palm are called as metacarpals. These are called as metacarpals and this is called as carpals. Now, this is about the hind limbs. Let us know about the this was about the forelimbs, and let us now know about the hind limbs. Forelimbs are for arms and hind limbs are for legs. So, this is the hip girdle. This is the longest bone in our body, that is femur. This is knee. The down part is called tibia and this is the fibula, and we have the ankle, foot, toes, and the leg fingers. So, our upper leg has bone called femur or thigh bone. It is the longest bone in our body. So, this is about the hind limbs. The bones of hands are called as forelimbs and the bones of legs are called as hind limbs. So, let us have a name once again: collarbone, shoulder girdle, humerus, elbow, this is radius, ulna, wrist and fingers. These are the carpals and here these are the metacarpals. And for hind limbs we have hip girdle, this is the upper leg, this is the lower leg, this is the femur, knee, tibia, fibula, ankle, foot and toes. So, this is about the forelimbs and hind limbs. Now, we are going to see about the joints. As you know that we make daily different movements. We are doing every time some different movement and then try to move to the various parts of the body. How does this helps us? The joints helps us to do so. So, the bones that are joined to each other at different places, the bones that are joined to each other at different places, the place where 2 or more bone joints is called a joint. Bones are joined by a tough flexible bands of elastic tissues called ligaments. The ends of bones forming a joint is lined with a layer of tough and elastic tissue called cartilage. The cartilage makes the ends of the bone smooth and reduces friction between the bones during movement. Cartilage is also present in other parts of the body like upper part of the ear and front part of the nose. Now let us see about the different types of joints which are present in our human body. Yeah. Types of joints, immovable or fixed joints. So first of all we are going to see about the immovable or fixed joints. Like it means the joints which are fixed, they cannot move. These joints do not allow any movement between the bones. These joints, immovable or fixed joints, do not allow any movement between the bones. For example, the bones of the skull. So the bones of the skull are fixed joints, they cannot move, they are interlocked with each other. They are held together by a fibrous cartilage that do not allow any movement. So the bones of the skull are immovable joints, Next type of bones are the bones that can move slightly, These joints, it means movable joints, allows very little movement due to the presence of a flexible cartilage between their ends. For example, joints present between the adjacent vertebrae. So the joints present between the vertebrae in the backbone or spine allow only slight movements. This allow only the slight movement. This kind of joints provides more support. Then one more type of joints, that are movable joints. So most of the joints in the human body are freely movable. We can move them. Yeah. The joints which can be moved are called as movable joints. Most of the joints in the human body are freely movable. Movable joints can be further classified into following 4 different types depending upon the type and extent of the movement they allow. Those are ball and socket joint, hinge joint, pivot joint, gliding joint. So let us see about it one by one. Ball and socket joint. In this type of joint, the ball shaped end of one bone fits into the hollow cup shaped socket of the other bone. This joint allows maximum movement in all directions. The joint of the shoulder and the hip are example of ball and socket joint. Joints of the shoulder and joints of the hips are examples of ball and socket joints. This type of joints have a ball like structure which is placed in the hollow cup shaped socket, and this type of joint is called as ball and socket joint. This is present in shoulder bone and hip joint. This is the shoulder bone, present in shoulder bone and hip joint. Let us see about the next joint, that is hinge joint. A joint is like the hinges in a door, means you can take the example of door, it can open from only one side. Yeah. So we have hinge joint in our elbows, fingers, knees and toes. We have hinge joint in our elbows, yes, in our elbows, fingers, knees and toes, elbows, fingers, knees and toes. They allow movement of the bones in one direction. They can move only in one direction. See, you can take the example right now. Just stand up, and what you can do is you just take your knee inside, your leg inside. It is easily you can do it, and you can do it straight and again back, straight and again back. Can you take your knee towards upside? No, it is not possible, because this is the example of hinge joint where you can allow to do the movement of the bones only in one direction, that is up, down or back and forth, not all way round. So this was about the hinge joint. Let us move towards the next joint, that is pivot joint. The joint where our neck joins the head is a pivot joint. See, we have a joint where the neck joints to the head. So, that is the joint called as pivot joint. It allows us to bend our head forward and backward and turn the head to our right or left. We can either turn our head to right, left, forward or backward. That is it. This type of joint where we can turn, move a little forward, backward, right or left, this type of joint is called as pivot joint and it is present in our neck. Next we have gliding joint. This kind of joints allows bones to glide over each other. These bones glides over each other, providing little movement in all direction. Gliding joints are found between the wrist and the carpals, between the ankle and the tarsals. So, this is the joint present here. This is present in the legs and called as gliding joint. We can also call it as ankle joint. So, let us see about now cartilage. Structure which are softer than bones and can be easily bent are called as cartilages. Structures which are softer than the bones and can be easily bent are called cartilages. Feel your ear. Do you find any hard bony part that can be bent? When you touch your ear towards the upper part, can you find any of the bony part inside it? Can you bend it? There do not seem to be any bone here, isn't it? Do you notice anything different between the ear lobe and the portions above it? As you press them between your fingers, you have a little hard structure that is called as cartilage which helps us to bend, but it does not have any bony part. You do feel something in the upper parts of the ear that is not as soft as the ear, not as hard as a bone, isn't it? This is cartilage. Cartilage is also found in the joints of the body. We have seen that our skeleton is made up of many bones, joints and cartilage. You could feel, bend and move many of them. Draw a neat figure of the skeleton in your notebook. You can understand the joints and all. We have learnt about the bones in our body and about the joint that help us move in different ways. What makes the bones move the way they do? Let us find out. Make a fist with one hand, bend your arm to the elbow and touch your shoulder with the thumb. Do you see a change in the upper arm? Touch it with your hand, other hand. Do you feel a swollen region inside your upper arm? This is a muscle. The bulged due to contraction. Now bring your arm back to its normal position. What happened to the muscle? Is it still contracted? No. You can observe contraction of muscles in your leg also. When contraction is done, the muscles become shorter, stiffer and thicker. It pulls the bone. Muscles work in pairs. When one of them contracts, the bone is pulled in that direction. The other muscle of the pair relaxes. To move the bone in the opposite direction, the relaxed muscle contracts to pull the bone towards its original position, while the first relaxes. A muscle can only pull, it cannot push. Thus, two muscles have to work together to move a bone. Muscles help in movement along with the bones. Change in shape occurs due to contraction and relaxation. See, when you contract, you can see in this way the contraction, the change in shape occurs, and when you relax, it comes back to its original position. When the contraction is done, the muscles bulges and shortens, it becomes shortens and it bulges out. So, these are called as biceps contraction and these are called as triceps relaxes, and when you relax it, bicep relaxes and tricep contracts. So, these are the muscles which are working in pairs. Now, we are going to see the gait of animals. About snake, fish, birds, cockroach, snail and earthworm. Gait of birds. So, you might have seen the birds, they have a little bony structure in their body, and also they have the feathers to fly. As you can see in the image, these also have the bony structure. So, we are going to see about what makes the birds to fly, what is the structure inside, how does a skeleton of the bird looks like. So, gait of birds. Light and hollow bones. Breastbone is modified while forelimbs are adapted as wings. The forelimbs here are adapted as wings. Strong shoulder bones and muscles. Strong shoulder bones and muscles. Gait of fish. Features that helps fish swim. Fins helps to swim in water. Tails helps to change the direction while swimming. Gait of snake. Snake has long backbone made up of small bones. It slithers with the help of many thin muscles and moves by making loops in the body. These loops push the body forward. Snakes do not have legs, yet they have ability to move rapidly. They move by crawling on their belly. A snake has a long and flexible vertebral column. Each vertebra is connected to a pair of ribs that are also connected to a belly scales at the bottom. Strong muscles attached to the ribs, vertebrae and belly scales are responsible for the movement of snake's body. A snake moves by turning its body into several loops on alternate sides. Each loop the snake gives, it is a forward push by pressing against the ground. So, as it is making the loops, it pushes the body forward in the forward direction. Observe a fish while it moves in an aquarium. You find the head and the tail of the fish are smaller than the middle portion of the body. The body tapers at both the ends. The shape of the body of a fish is streamlined. It means it is like a boat. This type of body shape helps a fish to overcome the resistance offered by water, and that enables to fish swim in the water. The fish moves in a sideways. This movement is possible by strong muscles attached to the flexible backbones. During swimming, the front part of the body curves to one side and the tail part towards the opposite side. The fish forms a curve or a loop and then it moves forward. In the same way, we have also seen about the birds. Birds fly in the air as well as walk on the ground. Some birds like ducks and swans also swim in water. Birds can fly because of the following features. The forelimbs are modified into wings so they can fly. Hind limbs are used for walking and perching. They have streamlined bodies that cut the air current while flying. Their bones are hollow that makes their body light. They have powerful chest muscles that help them in flapping their wings during flight. So, this was about the gait of snake, fish and birds. So, we have also seen about an earthworm. An earthworm has a long cylindrical body made up of many rings or segments joined end to end. So, earthworm has many segments, round segments which are called also as rings joined end to end. It has a liquid skeleton that helps in maintenance of body shape on the under surface of a body. A number of minute bristles are present that help the earthworm to form a firm grip on the ground. Muscles attached to the bristles are help for contraction of body. In the same way, for snails have hard shells on their back that protects them from heat and enemies. Snails have a large flat foot made up of strong muscles. The foot produces a slimy substance called mucus which reduces the friction between the foot and the ground surface. The muscles of the foot enable the snail to move forward. So, the muscles of the foot enables the snail to move forward. Let us see about the gait of cockroach. Cockroach have 3 pairs of joint legs and strong muscles to pull these legs. Joint legs are strong muscles, help them to walk or run. Their feet have tiny claws that help them climb on walls. Cockroach can fly for only short distances. So, let us see a video.
Are warm-blooded vertebrates. Their forelimbs are modified into wings. During the course of evolution, birds have developed wings with large surface area and light weight. Based on the various aerial adaptations, the 2 main types of flying methods are flapping and gliding. Most of the birds, like eagle, fly by flapping their wings. It involves downstroke and upstroke movements. During downstroke, the wing feathers overlap so that no air can pass through them. As a result, the air is pushed down and backwards, propelling the bird up and forward at the same time. Whereas during upstroke, the wings are open, allowing the air to pass through them. As a result, the air friction is minimized, making it easier to lift the wings. The flapping movement is facilitated by strong breast muscles. At the start of downstroke, the wings are fully stretched out and extended forward, creating a large surface area. Next, the pectoralis muscles contract, pulling each humerus bone of wings down, creating the required thrust for lift. Upstroke is powered mainly by the supracoracoideus muscles, which are located underneath the pectoralis muscles and are connected by tendon to the top of the humerus. These muscles work like pulley to lift the wings upwards. Some birds, such as albatross, vultures, etc., have very large wings. Large wings are ideal for gliding. When a bird is gliding, it does not flap its wings. That is, the wings are stretched out to the sides of the body without any movement. Gliding flight minimizes the use of energy and hence commonly seen in massive birds. Many insects also have wings to facilitate locomotion through air. Insects like butterfly, dragonfly, etc. have different types of wings. Most flying insects have 2 pairs of wings that are thin and transparent outgrowths of the exoskeleton. They have muscles inside their hard outer covering to facilitate vigorous movement of the wings. One set of muscles contracts to move the wings up. The other set contracts to move them down. Besides birds and insects, bat is the only mammal that has evolved with wings which are formed by skin supported by extremely long digits. Bats have unique set muscles that power the wings during flight. The bats fly by beating their wings forward and downward, then upward and backward. Flying is one of the untamed desires of mankind. Hence, a closer look of these organisms can help us to transform our desire into reality.
So, in this lesson, we have studied in detail about skeletal system, muscular system, all the types of joints and gait of animals. You can read the lesson thoroughly, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me the doubts. Now, we have completed the term 1 syllabus today, and totally we have completed 8 lessons. So, thank you students.